In a world lit only by glowing brake discs, on a hill between two lakes lies the ultimate test of courage. Welcome back to Season 2 of the Missed Apex Formula 3 Challenge as we journey to Brazil, where the drivers will face off for the first round of the championship. The standards are higher, the lap times are tighter, and chaos looms as dramatic elevation changes and brutal braking zones wreak havoc on the field. To get us underway today, please give a warm welcome to your commentators, Chris Stevens and Chris Catman Turner.
A brand new season of Missed Apex iRacing is upon us. Welcome everyone to Interlagos and the F3 Cup. It's our second season with the Dallara F3 chassis, and we are back for more wheel-to-wheel exciting action with a new season of racing. I am Chris Stevens. I'll be your lead commentator for this evening. Joining me is Chris Catman Turner. How's it going, Chris?
Really good. I'm really excited for this season, Chris. We had some great racing last year. I'm hoping for more of the same.
The first season with the F3 was just such a success, wasn't it? The racing was impeccable, although this man right here, Danny Henney, kind of, I won't say walked away with the title. We did have quite a thrilling finale at Circuit of the Americas, but he certainly looked in good form last season.
He's certainly coming into this season again as the man to beat, but we have an incredibly close field from the practice sessions we've been having on the lead up to this event.
Yes, and we'll talk more about the rest of the field a little bit later on and the changes that we've made for this second season with the F3 car. But first of all, welcome to the YouTube streamers. We are live on the Missed Apex Motorsport YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe and do like the video as well, and leave a comment in the chat room as well. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of rounds of Whose Fault Is It? And if you haven't already, please go and subscribe to the Missed Apex podcast channel, where we have our F1 episodes, all the race reviews, news in between races, and thoughts and opinions and guest stars and all the best things you could possibly want from an F1 podcast. Go and subscribe and make sure you click the bells to make sure you get notified when we upload. So this Interlagos circuit, one of the absolute classics on the Formula One calendar. We have raced here before, Chris. It was the finale for the last Formula Renault Challenge race, and we did see some interesting moments there.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? Interlagos is a wonderful circuit, either as an opener or as a finisher. It doesn't do well in the middle of a season, but it's just provides such climactic action that I'm pleased that we're back for the first race of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you've got the big, long front straight as well. We're seeing Danny getting very close here with Kyle Power in this free practice session. Time's very close at the moment. It's Henny, unsurprisingly, I would say, leading the times at the moment on a 1 minute 26.5. 3 tenths clear of his nearest title rival from last season, Alexander Dobertsberger. So hopefully that battle will be reignited. If this is your first time watching the iRacing F3 Cup, then welcome. We are a clan of Missed Apex podcast listeners and panel members who want to put on a good show in iRacing. A lot of us are big fans of sim racing in general, and we've really built something special during the COVID period, especially during lockdown, and it's turned into something rather special. And this is the final product that you're seeing now, and we're really looking forward to getting underway again. But if this is your first time joining us, this is the practice session at the moment. There's another 24 or so minutes left in this session, then they will go into a 10-minute open qualifying session. Now, anyone who's familiar with iRacing, if you do officials, you might know that you get 2 flying laps on the circuit on your own. That's not how we run things here. 10 minutes, completely open, all the cars on the track at once, and that does lead to a little bit of gamesmanship. And then we have 3 races for the night. We have a 14-lap feature race, and then 2 12-lap sort of sprint races where the grid is the top 20 reversed. And it's a lot more simple than certain other F2 and F3 championships have been running their campaigns this season. But 3 races in store for the night. Chris.
Those reverse grid races do definitely provide a bit of a challenge and a bit of intrigue, don't they?
Absolutely. How many times have we seen, Danny Henny with the pace to come through the pack, but he gets caught up in an incident on the first lap?
Yeah, and that is the key to a title challenge. So although this is the first race, we are definitely looking at the full season here, because Danny's got to get himself off to a good start, because last year he got himself in a tangle in the first race, and that put him on the back foot for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. He was kind of playing catch-up from that moment on. It was actually Tim Ellis who led the standings after the first round, what was a very chaotic first round, and our first time racing with the F3 chassis, of course, and it was ultimately Danny who came through. He's very annoyed about that COTA race, and it's because it's the only time he hasn't finished on the podium at an event. So he's 17 for 18.
Yeah, and he doesn't remind us of that every 5 minutes at all.
No, of course not.
Do you know what though, Chris? I'm really impressed with the field of drivers that we've got from when we started back in the MX5 Cup, and then we moved up to the Formula Renaults. The standard of driving, not just the pace, but also just the cleanliness of the racing. It's just phenomenal nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the 5th season of Missed Apex iRacing. As Chris said, we started in the MX5s. That was Steve Ficacci who won out in that battle. Then we had 2 seasons of the Formula Renault, David Hatton, and then Danny Henny winning those 2 titles, and then, of course, Henny winning the first F3 title as well. Our only multiple champion. And then, of course, last season we introduced the different driver classes as well. We have Platinum, Gold, and Silver. And we had Alex Jonesma winning the Gold Championship last season, and Lucas Raskowitz in Silver. They've both been promoted now, a driver class. So we've got Jonesma in Platinum and Raskowitz in Gold. A few other promotions and a couple of demotions as well to talk about from last season if you were with us. But before we kind of get into everything for this weekend, let's just talk about a couple of small changes that we've made to this championship. Overall, Chris, I think it's fair to say that it was a resounding success, but there were a couple of tweaks that needed to be made.
Yeah, of course. In the early stages of these championships, you're always looking to improve little things and just make that racing that little bit closer.
Absolutely. So the big change for this season is they are now running fixed setups. So before you could run whatever setup you wanted, but we've made it a lot more kind of open to the more amateur sim racer who doesn't have all the time in the world to be working on setups. So everyone is now running the same setup. And I've got to say, I think that's just brought the pack even closer together. During one of the practice sessions, we had nearly 20 cars separated by just a single second. And if we get anywhere close to that tonight, we are in for an absolute treat. And one of the other smaller changes, you might have noticed it already, we have a slightly longer feature race. So for this race, it will be 2 laps longer than the reverse grid races.
Yeah, and that's good, I think, because it gives the feature race that little bit more importance. It does carry a little bit more weighting in terms of the points as well. So I think it deserves, that it's done on raw pace, that one. So I do think that deserves that little bit more attention.
Yeah, oh my, I hope we were still following Danny Henny through that final corner. He got the back end out like nobody's business out of Zhong Xiao. A very nice save. You can see behind him Spanners there. Spanners Ready, the host of Missed Apex podcast, running a new but old livery. This is his livery from the Formula Renault days, and I've got to say, I absolutely adore it.
Yeah, but it is a beautiful one. It's a little bit military, kind of harking back to kind of the naval or the aviators, really. And what number is he carrying, Chris? Because that, I think, is quite important to him. I think he's is it 117, I believe?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that's something to do with his military background. So, wishing Spanners all the best for this season.
Absolutely. He's actually another one of our promoted drivers. He's gone from silver to gold, as has Richard Molden, because of their performances in last season's championship. If you were with us at the Circuit of the Americas round last season, you may remember the final lap showdown for the gold championship between Jonesma and Luca Harrison. Both have been promoted to platinum status now, and I think Harrison's got the bit between his teeth to try and beat Jonesma this season. And also Ishmael Basso has been promoted to platinum. So that's a little bit of housekeeping for you there, for anybody who's keeping score.
We have a little bit of an in-house battle going on, not just on track between Spanners and Power, but also between Alex Van Gien and Spanners, because there's a little bit of rivalry going on there with the training that Van Gien's getting from his Project Alien status, and his dipstick, he says, is Spanners. So as long as he's up there with Spanners, he's happy.
Well, we've seen Kyle has been, I think, traditionally the fastest panel member, other than Brad when he does join us on the grid. But Kyle's the most regular person we see up at the front of the field from the panel, and then it's very, very close between Spanners and Van Gien at the moment. That's going to be a really good battle throughout the season. And then of course we still have Matt Trumpets. He's in the silver class as well, so we'll be sure to keep an eye out for him. Now, just under 17 minutes left in this session, and Danny Henny goes for a spin there out of turn 9, I believe that is. And this may be, to spare his blushes, a good opportunity to talk more about this circuit. The 4.3 kilometer Interlagos circuit, all 15 turns of it. Absolute classic in Sao Paulo, loved by many. And Spanners and Kyle, earlier in the week, went out to show us how to drive this circuit.
Hey guys, Spanners here. I'm going to take you round a lap of Interlagos. My guide on this journey is Kyle, a lime green car that only I can see or hear. But the reason I've chosen a lap where I'm following Kyle is because I think this demonstrates why the racing will be so good. Kyle's a few tenths ahead of me on pace. That's being generous. But I was able to follow him around a few of the laps because the tow kept me in touch. And it is a track where you can compensate for the dirty air by just kind of compromising a little bit on your entry points, on your acceleration points, and then rely on the tow to bring you back up front. As long as you can stay within 0.5 on the back straight, you've got a chance of going racing, even against some of the top guys. So join me now as we cross the line. We're going to stay over to the right. We're going to turn later than you naturally would on an apex like this because we're going to dive down inside. And when we get on power here, we're not letting go again all the way through that complex. Take as much of the curbs as you can. Obviously a little bit harder when you're in that dirty air, but I was still able to attack. I'm still on Kyle's tail. Into turn 4, one of the hardest corners on the track, so hard not to go off. We're going to break down progressively down towards 4th gear, touch the apex and aim for the 2 towers in the distance. There's a 1x if you go right of that white line. There's a double apex coming up. Here the wash will affect you a little bit, so I've had to brake a little earlier, turn in. I've not been able to stay as tight as I can, and here at this hairpin you would normally be all the way to the right hand side where Kyle is, even beyond. The road helps you on this left-hander, gets the car settled and you can pin it straight away. It's like a slingshot. 2 different lines into the final infield corner. I don't think I lose any time by going narrow because I've travelled less distance and I'm out of the dirty air, so I can just get on that curb and use the grip on the inside. This corner will separate the great from the good. So hard to keep your balance and keep an eye on what you're doing whilst you're going over that horrible concrete on the outside. But Kyle slows down there on the exit to show us all that he was probably toying with me all along.
Catman, I think we all have our favourite Interlagos memories, not least from some of the classic F1 title showdowns that have been here in the past. In 2008 and 2012 spring to mind.
Yep, absolutely. There's only 3 words that come to mind when you think of Interlagos, and is that Glock. So yeah, but Interlagos, it's been a fixture of the F1 calendar for so long in various different guises, and it alternated in the 80s with Rio, but it's had some fantastic title showdowns here, Chris.
Absolutely. Just give you a little update on this practice session. Brian Boomsma has just gone 2nd quickest. He is just under 0.3 away from Henny's benchmark time, so 26.7. So that's 5 people now we have in the sub-27s. And that is Boomseye having a little bit of a ding-dong there with Henny. I think Henny's deliberately seeking out some of the quick people to practice the wheel-to-wheel with. Regular viewers of the series will note that is a new livery for Mr. Boomsma, the black with the orange kind of circuit board design he's got on there.
Yeah, he's having a good battle. And Chris, I believe we've got another VT up.
We do indeed. Now, we also do an iRacing podcast on this very channel where you can catch the episodes of it here. On our last episode, we had Mr. Scott Tuffy, or Stuffy as you may know him from YouTube, joining us on the show. You can watch the full episode here, but here's a little snippet to whet your appetite.
The Verstappen move is what I'm calling it at the moment.
Tell me what you mean by the Verstappen move.
When Verstappen likes to get on the inside of someone and forgets someone is on his outside, but he has to leave the racing room and just drives to the edge of the track. And I am seeing that being replicated on iRacing all too often.
Before I get too much hate mail, the Verstappen move that we're talking about, where you just run the car off wide on exit, is a move I hate. But before it was a Verstappen move, it was definitely a Hamilton move. And I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan as well. But Hamilton has done that on so many occasions to drivers. Like, he just bullied poor old Nico Rosberg. And then Verstappen's come in and he's done it. He's done it even better than Hamilton, time after time after time. Just keeps going wide. People go, whoa, you lunatic, jumps out the way. But because there's no contact, the stewards are like, well, there wasn't any contact. You drove out of the way. In iRacing, we don't have any stewards. So when someone's up the inside of you, are you just jumping out of the way, or do you just go, oh, well, hit me then?
Well, I'm always respectful. Wheel-to-wheel racing, the difference is that when I'm in that situation, I leave plenty of room and I want a race-long battle. That's what I'm there for. I'm obviously content creating as well, so I want something to put online that people can enjoy. I feel like people don't appreciate defending on iRacing. They get frustrated and then they do silly things like that. As soon as they get an opportunity, they just try and drive you off the track. And at the moment, I'm just being a little bit disheartened by it. That I haven't even got any words to say because it is that common, which is a shame.
Plenty of other topics on the iRacing podcast to enjoy. You can catch that right here on the Missed Apex Motorsport YouTube channel, or indeed on your podcatcher of choice. So I do believe we are going to be going to qualifying a little bit earlier than expected. So down to crunch time a little bit sooner. I will not complain about that. We're just seeing Mr. Alex Van Gien here, Missed Apex panelist. He's been on the show quite a lot, from what I've been told, about once a month. And he also is sporting a new livery. Although I'm not sure what he's done with it, to be honest.
Yeah, I really liked his blue livery. It stood out from a distance on the commentary. But
yeah, it certainly did.
Yeah, a very popular podcaster is Alex. He's clearly loved by many. He's out there today to show his stuff. He was racing there just before I think you came live there with Stephen Williams, who's also a very quick guy as well. We often, back in the days when you could actually get closer than a meter to each other, we did host some casting events, and he's a very quick guy in real life as well as on the sim, Chris.
Absolutely rapid is Stephen Williams, and easy to spot on screen. The Aston Martin colours on his car. Of course, a race winner in this series, and twice a podium finisher as well. Won the Spa race 3, if I remember rightly.
Yes, yeah, he did, and he was very rapid in that race as well. He was fending off the advances from very fast guys behind him. So he's definitely one to watch, and he's currently in P4 in practice. So definitely is in the shout here for a decent finish.
Williams, I think, was in the top 5 in the championship, or just outside. He was in 6th in the championship last season. and I have no doubt he can improve on that. But of course, we've got an incredibly competitive field with the likes of Henny Dobsberger, Kyle Power, David Hatton. We haven't really talked about him yet, the inaugural Formula Renault Challenge champion, and of course Tim Ellis as well, who led the championship for most of last season as well. He's back in his familiar blue and yellow car, just in front of Stephen Williams on track at the moment, actually.
He is, and both those guys are in the top 10 in terms of practice times. So, yeah, expect to see them featuring throughout the season.
And we are going to qualifying now, so it's crunch time. For the first time this season.
So, Chris, just remind us what an open qualifying session means and what it means at this track, because they look like they're getting on track very, very eagerly today.
They are indeed. So, of course, if you are running in iRacing officials yourself, you may know about the fact that you do your laps by yourself on track, and you get 2 flying laps to do so. Here we run things a little bit differently. The open session, as you can see, means everyone is on track together. And that, of course, means we could be seeing some slipstreaming opportunities going on here. So we've got up at the front of the field, that would be Alexander Dobsberger, who's leading the pack out of the pit lane with Lucas Raskowitz and David Hatton close behind him. And of course, they'll all be wanting to get a slipstream from the car in front. It will be so important in Sector 1 and Sector 3. They may not lose too much time in this middle sector. And we could be seeing some drivers holding each other up. They're all getting into a bit of a pack in the midfield here.
All except for Danny Henny, who has spun at the corner number 4. So he has just put himself in a bit of a position because he'll have wrecked these tyres a little bit because they'll be a little bit hotter than he was expecting. That's an early mistake there from Henny. Could that be the difference in qualifying here today?
Well, we've got plenty of time for him to rectify the situation as Dobsberger comes over the line and starts his first flying lap now down towards the Senna S. Now, I'm told that on this setup in particular that we're running, remember it's a fixed setup across all the cars, that the tyres are like ice on lap 1. So we've got to keep an eye out for drivers potentially making mistakes and running off the circuit, or even worse on this opening lap. And then apparently by the time you get to lap 2, the tyres should be very nicely warmed up. Now, they are on the exit of turn 4. That is the one place we need to be looking out for track limits. If you run a little bit too wide there, you can get a 1x, although you do have to run fairly wide to get that. But in the race, if you pass a car by going around the outside and running off the circuit, you will incur the attention of the stewards.
That's right, Chris, and we do actually have a driver steward here today.
Yes, indeed we do. We have Brad Philpott watching the action along with us. And hopefully we can chat to Brad at some point as Dobsberger comes out of the final corner. But yes, he'll be keeping an eye on all of the action for tonight and making any calls on the fly if need be.
Yeah, hi guys. I've just rejoined the session, had a little computer issue, but I'm back in now for qualifying and hoping I don't need to make any kind of decisions during this session.
What kind of things are you going to be looking out for during the races tonight, Brad?
Anything you could think of that would be penalisable. Anything that could be a disadvantage for a driver caused by another driver, which is outside the rules, really. I'm certainly new to stewarding. This is definitely a poacher turned gamekeeper situation, but I'm going to be waiting for drivers to radio in and tell me that there's been a problem, and I'll be reviewing those incidents in detail.
Okay, well, thanks, Brad. We'll let you get back to it.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
So yeah, Brad is joining the likes of Tom Christensen and Derek Warwick in the stewarding office, but tonight he's actually all by himself. So he kind of wields ultimate power. Usually there's a bit of a stewards panel that decide these things, but I don't know if that was wise, Chris.
Well, maybe we'll see, won't we? It depends on if anyone violates his lane system. Look at that, we are already nearly halfway through this session, and I tell you what, I don't think Henny's been put off too much by the pace. and that incident he had on his outlap, because he is currently quickest, a 1:27.963. He's just 0.08 of a second quicker than Alex Jonesma, and Brian Boomsma in third place at the moment. Dobbelsberger comes over the line to complete his second lap. He did not improve on that one. Jonesma has improved to a 1:27.7, as has David Hatton. Just 0.5 of a second separated them on that lap. Jonesma, another driver sporting a new livery. You can see the gold, chrome and black on that number 56 car. And he is in the slipstream of Hatton there, so I wonder if being in that tow benefited him a little bit. Jonesma, of course, the gold champion from last season. Sorry, Chris.
That's right. Like I say, the slipstream makes a massive difference here, because that start-finish straight tow up the hill is so important, as we see Stephen Williams pop up into fourth place.
Yep, indeed he does. Jonesma was actually slower by a couple of hundredths of a second than Hatton in that third sector. He made up his time in the first and second sectors. And we'll see how it unfolds this lap. Still Henny on a 27.9 behind them, 0.2 off provisional pole at the moment. Williams, Ellis, Luca Harrison in sixth place at the moment. Boomsma, Power, Dobbelsberger and Alex McBride. That is your top 10 at the moment, as we have a little over 4 minutes remaining in this qualifying session.
They do, so that's another 3 laps left, and they've got all to play for here. It is very tight at the top, Chris.
Indeed it is, and it might just get even tighter as Jonesma once again lowers the benchmark. Dobbelsberger did have provisional pole there for a second. He's now been pushed down to third place as Harrison goes second quickest. Just 0.1 separates those 3 cars. Flag is now up into fourth place ahead of David Hatton. There is just 1/4 of a second between those 3 cars. Danny Henny only 6th quickest at the moment. What's happening with him at the moment?
Well, if we go to him, he just got, I think, balked a little bit by Matthew Trumpets there. So one of our panelists, he's got a slipstream down the start-finish straight. So this next lap may be useful, but I think that previous lap won't be any good, because he got really caught up in that final sector.
Well, I'll tell you what, Harrison is also pretty quick at the moment as well, but he's right up behind Tim Ellis as well. So traffic is definitely playing a very crucial role here in this qualifying session. Henny's got some relatively clear air in front of him now, so maybe we will start to see the pace drop for him a little bit.
He does, and actually the car in front quite sensibly leapt out of the way. His first sector is about 0.3 of a second up on his previous best. We'll see if we get to the end of the lap if that's enough to put him on pole.
So the guys at the front of the field, they're coming up to complete another lap. Dobbelsberger now goes to the top of the times by almost 0.1 Jonesma can't quite compete with that pace on that one as he goes second quickest. Still Harrison in third. Hatton improves to fourth place ahead of Boomsma, and then Raskovitz, that's your top 6. And we did not see the improvement from Danny Henny on that round. He is currently in 9th place, and Kyle Power now in 9th as Stephen Williams improves his time to 5th.
Here comes Henny across the line, Chris. Yeah, I think he came a bit too early. Here he comes. He's going to come across the line. I think he's going to put it on pole.
Well, we're about to see the pace. He's come down towards turn 1, and it is indeed a provisional pole time by just 67 thousandths of a second, 1:27.2. We were seeing drivers just getting into the 1:26s in free practice, so I think we've got 2 more laps from these guys before the qualifying is over.
And looking through the field, sorry Chris to cut across you, but we've got Kyle Power in 10th place. He's the top podcaster at the moment, closely followed actually by Spanners Ready. He's really upped his pace. He's only a couple of tenths behind Power, back in 13th. And then looking further down, we've got Alex Bangine, the very popular Alien, down in 19th, Chris.
So Danny now has found himself in some traffic once again. He's got, I think that's Adrian Clark in front of him as he's winding his way through this middle sector now. So this lap may be done for him as well. It could come down to that final lap. Remember, Henny had all but 1 pole position last season, and that was the first round. because he just so happened to be behind a spinning car at the final corner of the final laps of qualifying. But less than a minute to go now. We are definitely coming up to crunch time in qualifying. And Henny, unless he passes this car into, before turn 1 now, that may well have, we may well have seen the last of his efforts. He's making the move now down into turn 1, but that is surely going to compromise this first sector for him.
Yeah, you had to take a difficult line there. I've just also watched Alex Dobertsberger, who's coming into the final sector. He's going to get, or we won't get another run because he's only got 10 seconds of the session remaining. He won't cross the line in time. So this final lap that he's just finishing in the next 10 seconds or so will be his final one. So let's see if he can make a challenge.
Dobertsberger will be the first man across the line. He led them out of the pit lane, and he's had clean air this entire session. And, it's worked out quite well for him, but can this final effort dethrone Henny at the top of the standings? Remember, we've got David Hatton close behind him as well. Another very quick car. Dobertsberger goes across the line. He does take pole by just 45 thousandths of a second. David Hatton goes third. Only 93 thousandths from pole. Harrison now goes quickest at 27.0. Less than a tenth of a second between him and Dobertsberger. Boomsma slots into second place. Less than half a tenth to him. Henny is down to fourth. So now it's going to be all eyes on the defending champion as he exits Zhengzhou for the final time. Is he on a lap that is going to be good enough to secure him pole position? Remember, it's Harrison fastest at the moment. 1:27.097 is the benchmark as he comes round that final corner now. Cuts through the pit lane nicely and keeps it so tight to the left-hand side on the wall. Across the line. Is it good enough for pole position? It doesn't look like it is. I don't think he improved because he was compromised. Yes, a 27.5. So it's Luca Harrison who is on pole position ahead of Brian Boomsma on the front row of the grid. Alexander Dobertsberger is in third, and the reigning champion, Danny Henny, will start fourth ahead of his fellow champion, David Hatton. Less than half a second separating the top 11 cars in that session. I'll just give you the rest of the top 10. So Tim Ellis is in sixth place there ahead of Andy Flagg, Alex Jonesma, Thomas van Kroonenberg. Now, we haven't talked about him. He's a new entrant for this season, although I'm told not to disregard him because of that. He is a very quick car. And then Barry Kemp in the top 10 there. That's a good effort from the South African racer. Stephen Williams ended up 11th in that session, actually, and not a great session for Carl Power there. 13th in the end. So, Luca Harrison on pole position, I believe, for the first time in his Missed Apex career. Brian Boomsma alongside him on the front row. Then Alexander Dobertsberger and the defending champion, Danny Henny, on the second row. David Hatton and Tim Ellis, Andy Flagg, Alex Jonesma, Van Kroonenberg, and Barry Kemp. That is your top 10 for the feature race, which is now underway. We're green for a brand new season of the Missed Apex iRacing F3 Cup, and it is Harrison who is leading the field away. Boomsma immediately coming under pressure from Alexander Dobertsberger, who's going around the outside of the Senna S. Henny waiting in the wings patiently, and now it's paying off as Dobertsberger has gone wide out of turn 3, and he goes through into third place, and David Hatton follows him through.
Yep, he's putting massive pressure on Henny, who got slightly balked at the start. The two cars came side by side. Hatton on the inside. Hatton didn't manage to take that position, Chris?
He's just keeping alongside Henny at the moment. Harrison and Boomsma leading away, but Henny going tight towards the inside as they go towards Ferradura, and he has just been able to hang on to that third place spot, but he's still defending from Hatton at the moment as they wind their way through this middle sector. So Dobertsberger down to fifth. Harrison from the leaders spun! Brian Boomsma takes the leaders. Luca Harrison, I said he doesn't have the cleanest track record, unfortunately, and on the first lap, he has unfortunately proved me right.
He has. It was cold tyres just on the exit of the corner. He just spun the rear wheels up and just got it slightly sideways. Couldn't correct it in time. That is a disaster for him. He's dropped right back down the field.
So he's got to work his way through now. Surely reverse grid pole is going to be his aim now. He'll have to finish 20th to make that happen. So Brian Boomsma leads the field at the end of lap 1 by just 0.6 of a second to Danny Henney. David Hatton right in the slipstreams behind them for 4th place. Tim Ellis is trying to get alongside Dobbelsberger on the way into the Center S. He's going down the outside, but he can't find a way through there. Behind them, that was Kyle Power, who has gone very deep into the first corner, and I think losing even more places. He's down in 12th at the moment. Andy Flagg in 6th place, fending off Stephen Williams as well. Then Alex Jonesma and Thomas van Kroonenberg and Barry Kemp still in the top 10. But look at this battle for 6th place as they head down towards turn 4. Williams down the inside.
Yeah, Kyle did the right thing and under braking in turn 1 got it slightly wrong behind Williams, so ducked out of it and had to go wide. He lost about 6 or 7 places. That was terrible for him.
Williams now leading that battle for 6th place. He's just picked up Andy Flagg down into turn 4. Had to do a little bit of defending into Ferragura, but I think he should try and stretch his legs now and go after Tim Ellis. Andy Flagg, the very notable pink car with the rainbow nose, and Van Kroonenberg in that rather striking Cadbury's purple car, and Drillsman behind them in the black, chrome and gold.
We might see a change for the lead, Chris. Danny Henney is coming down the start-finish straight, tucked right up behind Boomsma, right in the slipstream.
Yeah, it's very close now for the lead of the race as they go across the line to start lap 3. Boomsma has not defended. Interesting. As Dobbelsberger also making a move for the podium, but through on the inside goes Danny Henney into the lead of the race. It took him less than 3 laps to get up from 4th to 1st, and the defending champion is back where he's comfortable.
He is, but he's got to defend here because he's going to the inside, Chris.
Yeah, Boomsma having a look down the Retroposta down towards the outside as we head towards Desquido de Lago. Henney with the inside line has repelled the advances of Brian Boomsma for now, but look at the exit he got out of turn 4, and it's going to be side by side once again as they head back up the hill towards Ferragura. Boomsma surely not going to go around the outside, and there he's giving it a go though. And still Henney cannot take up the racing line as Booms was still there, and he's surely going to get forced out. He's found the inside line for turn 9, and still they are side by side. This is epic racing for the lead of this feature race, and Henney just now, I think, can take up the line. They're so close on the exit of Bico de Pato, and Boomsma with the bravery into Magulio retakes the lead. Fantastic racing.
I haven't seen anything like that, Chris. Dobbelsberger is also getting involved in this as these two are scrapping, costing each other time. They were side by side for a whole lap and still maintains. Henney's going to the inside now.
Yep, so Boomsma, I think, just tried to squeeze him up towards the grass and he couldn't quite make it work. Is Dobbelsberger about to make this 3 wide towards turn 1? Maybe not, but once again, just like last time round, Henney down on the inside. Boomsma getting very out of shape on the outside of turn 1 there. Henney sweeps around the outside. That's fantastic racing. And this time he's able to pull a little bit of a gap from Boomsma. Boomsma now has got to keep an eye out for Dobbelsberger, squeezed out onto the grass. Fantastically keeps it pinned down there, but Boomsma should just hang on to this 2nd place now.
That was a world-class display of defending, and he's going to have to keep it up against Dobbelsberger, who is all over the back of him. Again, round the outside of here is very brave, but we just saw that Boomsma managed to get it done, so it's not impossible.
No, absolutely not, and all this squabbling is going to be music to the ears of Henney as he's starting to stretch his legs, the gap up to about 3/4 of a second. And Boomsma with his mirrors full of that black and white Ace of Spades car that finished 2nd in the championship last year, so we know that is no slouch driving that car. And of course David Hatton in the familiar black and lime green as well, waiting in the wings. Tim Ellis closing in as well.
Yeah, don't count out the beast, David Hatton, driving number 666. Here he comes. He's tucked right up under the rear wing of Dobbelsberger. He is going to have a good go onto the first corner here. Which way is he going to go, Chris?
Yeah, Dobbelsberger didn't get the best exit out of Zhongshao there, and it's Hatton on the attack down towards the centre S. He's gone towards the outside. Well, hasn't drawn alongside. So Dobbelsberger is safe from Hatton for the minute. They head out of turn 2 around Curva de Sol. There could be another challenge yet. Fairly equidistant between those 3 cars as they head down here on lap 5. Just to update you, just behind them, Andy Flagg has reclaimed that 6th place from Stephen Williams, who's now in 7th. And we got Spanners ready, just knocking on the door of the top 10 there in 11th place at the moment. He's looking at the back of Mark Greenhow, another driver with a new livery at the moment. Snaking their way around this middle sector. Got a bit of a gap to close up before he can challenge for that top 10. Back up at the front of the field. Henny's advantage now 1 second as Boomsma leads that pack out of Zhengshao and down the straight. I go across the line to start lap 6, so coming up to half race distance in this one. And I feel like it's just settling down for a little bit, Chris, and then it might kick off again towards the end of the race.
You've got this middle section of the race that is all about kind of managing the temperature in the tyres and making sure that you are able to keep pushing. It's still a sprint race format, but what you don't want to do is overcook those tyres, particularly in the middle sector of this lap, Chris. We've got Tim Ellis under pressure, car number 14 in position 5 from Andy Flagg just behind. Flagg goes to the outside. He's going to brave it out there. He's going to get forced off if he's not careful.
Yeah, I mentioned Flagg reclaiming that 6th place spot, and he wants to improve on that even more, looking to get past Tim Ellis here, and down the inside of Ferragura. Ellis has to leave him some space on the outside, and my goodness me, how close were they to contact as they went through, and Flagg had the inside line for turn 8. Ellis is not giving up on this one, but I'm afraid he has to yield. Flagg puts himself into the top 5.
Yeah, great move from Flagg. Good pressure there on Tim Ellis. And we got the very rapid Stephen Williams coming up closely behind them as well.
Yeah, Dronsma up in there as well. So Andy Flagg, one of the original Gold Driver champion, I believe, when we introduced the classes in the Formula Renault Challenge. So you certainly can't say that he hasn't proven himself in this championship. Provided some excellent entertainment over the years. And now looking towards the inside is Alex Dronsma in 8th place on the inside of Stephen Williams. And Williams has to go wide into turn 1, but he just about hangs on to the place out of turn 2. But he's going to have Dronsma all over the back of him as they head down the Retroposta. And he'll have the inside line this time for turn 4. Is Williams going to be able to brave this one out? No, he concedes that one, tries to get the better exit out of turns 4 and 5, although it doesn't actually look like he has a rebuttal for Dronsma. A bit of a hot knife through butter move, that one.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Williams is still crawling all over the back of him, looking to the outside. There's not many ways through in this middle sector. It's a little bit follow me. If you make a lunge into this next corner, we see what Albon and Hamilton did. It's open for just a very clumsy collision, particularly with the camber of the corner. But it's actually been a very clean race so far, Chris. Not much for Brad Philpott to do.
Do you know what? I'm quite surprised and a little relieved. There's certainly some of the practice races we saw some absolute chaos around there. Now, a note on Thomas van Kroonenberg, who we mentioned him just around the top 10 earlier, although he has slipped back, unfortunately. He's currently in 20th place. And where has Luca Harrison found himself? He's not quite making the progress he would have wanted, I believe. Remember, he was on pole position for this race. He's currently in 29th place. And if he wants to be on pole position for the next race, he will have to make it into 20th. That place now currently occupied by Matt Trumpets, I believe.
Yep, Trumpets and Kroonenberg are having a good fight here. Kroonenberg's going right to the inside. Kroonenberg actually overtook him down the start-finish straight. This is a battle over 19th, Chris.
Yep, and important for the grid for the next race. Remember, we reversed the top 20, and that gives us the grid for race 2.
So yeah, we got riding on board with Trumpets at the moment. Him in his classic gold livery, which I think is one of the best in the series. He's just been passed by Kronenberg, but he is coming under increasing pressure from McBride just behind him. So we shall see if he can hold him off and try and keep that desperately needed front row start for the second race.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most hotly contested positions, that one. Henny comes across the line to start lap 9. And I thought for a second that Dalbertsberger may be able to put a challenge on Boomsma for second place. But Boomsma clearly getting the good enough exit out of Zhongshao. And Dalbertsberger can't quite break that barrier to get into the slipstream. Spreading out a little bit now at the front of the field as Hatton has lost touch with the battle for the podium. He's 2 seconds back from Dalbertsberger, and I believe Flag's actually closing him down because he's now just 1 second behind the former Formula Renault Challenge champion.
Trumpet's under pressure again. He's gone to the outside. He's having to defend against Alex McBride, who has just managed to take the place on the inside there, but Trumpets is coming back at him on the outside and run up the hill.
Yeah, around the outside of Ferragura once again, and that's another brave move being put on there by Trumpets. He's cleared him by the time they get down to the apex of turn 8. That was very nicely done from Trumpets, and he reclaims that crucial 20th spot, losing a little bit of touch with Van Kronenberg now. So I think it's going to be a race looking in the mirrors for Trumpets. And of course, he's got Kyle Power not far behind as well. He's in that chasing pack. He could well end up on pole position at this rate.
Just a shout out to our live chat room on the YouTube feed. You can watch live. We have Daniel Ellis, who said, "I have stuff to do, but I can't look away." This is absolutely thrilling stuff. I totally agree with you, as Trumpets comes under pressure once again for that crucial 20th place.
Yeah, McBride once again to the outside of turn 1. Trumpets keeping it cool under pressure. McBride will once again a little wide there out of turn 2, but still close enough to attack down into turn 4. Remember, this is for reverse grid pole for race 2, and McBride to the inside and takes the position away from Trumpets. Oh, he's gone very, very wide through turn 4, though. Surely he won't keep that place, and Trumpets goes back through.
Yeah, you could see Trumpets lining up for the switchback there, and he took that masterfully because, he well outbroke himself. Trumpets still in that 20th place.
Now, up at the front of the field, I believe we've had some back markers getting in the way of this battle for second place because Dalbertsberger has lost a chunk of time to Boomsma. He's now almost a second behind as they come across the line to start lap 11.
I like this longer feature race format, Chris. It tends to give, it's not spreading things out, but it's allowing the quicker drivers to be able to make up for any misdemeanors in the first couple of laps, and it's still providing action through the whole race, Chris.
Absolutely. Now Spanners has made his way into the top 10. He's actually looking still at the back of Mark Greenhow, but they've both moved up now into the top 10. We see Spanners here actually lining up a move on Greenhow down towards turn 4. Greenhow very defensive on the way in. Spanners to the outside and all over the curb, but Spanners with the long way round on the outside, still side by side as they head up the hill down towards Ferragura. This is over 9th place, remember, and Spanners with the inside line. Is he just able to draw clear? Greenhow very much able to keep the speed up around the outside. Little lock up. Still they are not breaking formation. And Spanners still forced at the long way round. Finally clears him.
It was a cracking few corner move there from Spanners, but he's got to be very careful. He's got a slightly dodgy exit there, so he's got to be try and see if he can gap Greenhow before the start-finish straight, because that toe is so powerful. He'll be right back on it, Chris.
Just in front of them, the battle for 7th place between Stephen Williams and Alex Jonesma has most definitely closed up. As Jonesma has been hounding the back of Williams' car. and I believe had a lunge at him on this lap, but Williams was able to find his way back through. And Jonesma looking towards the inside at turn 1. I thought he was going to sell him the dummy there as he looked one way and then the other. Round Curva de Sol. And Stephen Williams, not quite seeing the pace from Williams that we've seen in previous rounds. Certainly, competitive, but not hassling the top guys like we might expect.
He's not. Just an update for you for Spanners Ready, just behind. He did manage to keep that position from Greenhow. Greenhow didn't quite get the slipstream that he wanted, and he started to drop back a little bit. So that is a clear 9th for Spanners.
And that, of course, will put him 11th on the grid for the second race. So Jonesma still trying to find a way through on Stephen Williams. They're about to encounter some backmarker traffic as they make their way up to Zhongshao for the 12th time. Coming up to the last 2 laps now. And I tell you what though, Henny's advantage at the front of the field is not really growing. It's 1.6 seconds, sort of stabilising there. So not running away with this one as we might expect, but this battle for 7th place getting close as Jonesma looks towards the outside, towards the centre est. And Williams having to take the tighter line through there. Still manages to get the good line through too, and the all-important exit, but Jonesma certainly with a very good run as they come down the Reta Aposta. And they'll be forced towards the outside line for turn 4. Now Williams has fended off that move for a few laps now, and he's done so successfully once again.
Yep, Julesman got an excellent exit out of the centre S, but then almost seemed to choose the outside. That was a very interesting choice because there's the long way around there, Chris, and it's very easy to force them off track.
Well, I think the outside of turn 4 seems to be the easier move to be able to make the more popular line around there. Of course, you've got to make sure you don't abuse those track limits, though, because you will catch the attention of the stewards.
So Drillsma coming up just behind him to try and line him up down the start-finish straight. I think this is where, if he's going to get it done, he will get it done. That was a good exit out, Chris, and he's tucked right up under the rear wing. Let's see if he can get it done.
It's about as close as it's been all race, really. So down this long front straight and a big slipstreaming opportunity. Can Jonesma just get himself past Williams as the white flag goes out? So we're now on the last lap, and once again Williams just expertly positioning his car. Now Jonesma are a little bit wider on the entry of 2 that time, though. That could give him the better exit. Let's see which line he goes for this time. Williams, oh my goodness! So that would have clipped the DRS board if that was a real thing. And Williams hasn't been able to cover the inside this time. Jonesma, is he going to go through this time? Williams is trying to brave it out around the outside. They're going to go side by side up the hill once again. So Williams will have the line as they get towards Ferradura. But if Jonesma can brave it out, it gets a little twitch on the way into the corner. And that just allows Williams to stay ahead.
Yeah, and a little lock up from Drillsman as well. He's got his work cut out from him if he wants. It's going to have to be a desperate lunge through this central section. Yeah, he got a little twitch, as you said, Chris. I think just with the downforce just being taken off his front wing, couldn't quite make it stick.
Meanwhile, Danny Henny has exited the final corner, and he is about to come across the line and start his title defence in perfect style as he comes across the line to take the first victory of the brand new season of the Missed Apex iRacing F3 Cup. Brian Boomsma comes across the line in second place, 2 seconds behind Henny, and Dobertsberger completes the podium. David Hatton just lost touch with the podium runners there, but he does get 4th ahead of Andy Flagg, who really chased down Hatton in the closing stages there, but couldn't quite mount an attack. Tim Ellis takes 6th place, and Stephen Williams was able to fend off Jonesma for that 7th place spot. Spanners Ready, a top 10 finish in 9th there ahead of Mark Greenhow.
An amazing race. Thanks for coming to me, Chris. Greenhow isn't who I thought I would be fighting today. He didn't look that quick in the practice, but on this track, if you race well, you really can hold people up, and that was my race today. I was holding off Mark, trying to fight with Barry. And then Colton was right behind as well. This field is exceptional.
It is, and that was a fantastic race from you, Spans. We saw some fighty moves from you.
Yay!
Yeah, we watched those live on the stream. We're used to you being polite around the listeners, but today you got your elbows out.
No, I did send an email out a few races back saying I did want to get my elbows out, and there's half the people there don't want to hit me because you're the guy, he's the guy from the thing. But in the other half, I've got a target on my back and think that's a great scalp. But I'm just racing now. I'm racing free. I've not enjoyed it as much as this for a long time. I'm really looking forward to the reverse grid.
Yep, maybe a target on your back, but they've got to catch you first. So enjoy race 2.
Thanks, Catman.
So just an update you further back. Alex Van Gien made it across the line in 13th place there. And Carl Power did make his way back into the top 20. He was 16th there, so that'll put him up at the front of the field for race 2. On reverse grid pole, it's going to be Colin Ward in the familiar Rothmans Williams livery. So we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back with race 2.